Cards or not, here we come. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Berman. Welcome to Eddie Money Weekend on NFL Game Day. 2 tickets to paradise. Pack your bags and leave tonight for today's winners. And our fellas certainly know the feeling today. Tom Jackson, nice trowel. Joe Theismann, Phil Simms, and I got to say, in championship games, each one of these guys is 2-0. Of course, don't let it go to your heads. I'm 3-0. So we know this round of the playoffs. We knew 2 things about the season before it began. On November 13th, Dallas would be at San Francisco. January 15th, Dallas would play San Francisco somewhere. That somewhere, Candlestick Park, which has been the scene of the earthquake, not to mention the catch. Now it's the scene of World War III, as the Cowboys and Niners meet for the 3rd straight year in the title game. A three-peat for the Cowboys depends on Emmitt Smith's hamstring. All he has done is score 7 touchdowns in the last 4 games against the Niners. Breakthrough for the 49ers? If so, they'll have to be good mutters. The rain, the park, and other things, like Emmitt's hammy. That's the first order of business for our dynamic duo, Chris Mortensen and Leslie Visser, as they share some cappuccino and some sourdough scones. Leslie?
I wish you could join me, Chris. Well, they say the grass is always greener, and after 2 weeks of torrential rain, it should be. But hey, it's almost sunny now. The field has been covered all night, but workers used a giant vacuum called a water hog to soak up extra moisture. The ground is still extremely soggy, though, and could be a mudslide after the first quarter. What is the status of Emmitt Smith? Well, a hamstring usually takes 4 to 6 weeks to heal, but with the help of this electronic stimulator worn in a protective sleeve, Emmitt says he's ready to start. He'll soon find out whether he can go full speed.
I know he's mentally and physically tough. He's proven that in his career, but when you've got problems with your wheels, it's very difficult to, that's one area that's got to be 100% or you can't play.
As for the 49ers, Steve Young gained 54 yards on the bootleg the last time these 2 teams met, and the threat of him running gives him more time to find his receivers. But Charles Haley, who leads the Cowboys with 12 sacks, isn't worried about it.
He can be dangerous scrambling, but he also fumbles when he carries the ball dangerously when he runs, too. So, he has an opportunity to make a big play, but he also has a big opportunity to cause a big play.
Well, Haley's former coach, Jimmy Johnson, is here, and yesterday he told me he's picking the 49ers to win. He said he still roots for Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and some of the coaches he's known for 15 years, but that one man, Jerry Jones, poisoned his Cowboy experience. Well, for more on the Cowboys, let's head downriver to Chris Mortensen, who spent the week with Dallas. Mort?
Leslie, an NFL trainer, told me that a soft, muddy field could be even better for Emmitt's hamstring than the hard AstroTurf at Texas Stadium because he'll have to run under control with less stress on the leg. Now, team trainer Kevin O'Neill has spent even more time in recent days with 325-pound right tackle Larry Allen, whose sprained left ankle has been slow to respond. Allen should start, but if he's ineffective or if he has to come out of this game, that's going to create a big mismatch with 49ers linebacker Ricky Jackson, who had a big outing in November, and of course, that would leave quarterback Troy Aikman exposed. For the 2nd straight week, Aikman will wear the electronic helmet that he rejected during the regular season. That's because the Cowboys suspect that the 49ers, perhaps in part to ex-Cowboys linebacker Ken Norton Jr., may have stolen their hand signals in the first meeting.
There were situations where we were running things out of almost the exact same formations, but doing different things, and they were always right. It seemed as though they were correct too many times for it just to be a lucky guess.
One slick problem remains. If it rains, Aikman admits he has more problems than most quarterbacks with a wet ball.
I grip the ball a little bit differently than I guess what is conventional, what most quarterbacks do, and I squeeze the ball. So anytime it gets any moisture on the ball or wet, then it causes me some problems.
The NFL will have 50 footballs on hand, double the normal allotment, to answer the potential wet ball problem. Now, Boomer, the Cowboys had trouble with their footing in November on a sunny day. So today, they will wear the maximum 3/4-inch cleats, although Cowboys owner Jerry Jones was trying to get a 1-inch cleat. As late as yesterday, he couldn't pull it off.
Mort, of course, is wearing spikes, though, on his heels. Mort, enjoy it. We'll see you shortly. We'll miss you here, big guy. Dallas lost in Week 11, Joe, 21-14. But, I mean, they are still the champs. Do they come into this game with the same swagger that they normally would as champs?
They'd like you to believe they do, Chris, but I don't think that I don't believe the Cowboys are coming in with that kind of swagger at all. I think the Cowboys, for the first time in 3 years, really believe that they are not the best team in football. And I think that kind of a mental state, Phil, makes them very vulnerable in this game.
Well, Joel, if they are vulnerable, it's because Emmitt Smith, if he can't go that whole football game, because from him to his replacement, Blair Thomas, there's a big drop-off in talent. But what I find interesting about today's game, a game dominated by stars at the skilled positions, the outcome will be decided between the tackles. The last time they played, the Cowboys dominated on both sides of the football. The reason they lost, 2 Troy Aikman interceptions inside the 5-yard line.
And Phil, you're right. In between the tackles is where the game is going to be won. And I talked to both of these coaching staffs. They agree there's one key matchup, Charles Haley against Steve Wallace at the left tackle spot for the Niners. Haley has the kind of athleticism and speed to disrupt that 49er rhythm offense. And with Emmitt Smith not at 100%, it's odd to say, but Charles Haley may offer the Cowboys their best opportunity to win.
Well, you talk about battles on the line. Let's switch it around, Tommy. The 2 kids for the Niners, Stubblefield and Bryant Young, have become a force together at defensive tackle against with Eric Williams hurt. The best 2 linemen, certainly for Dallas, Newton and Stepnoski. That's a battle we'll be watching. Oh, we have so much to come on this game. We feel we're wearing cowboy boots riding a cable car. Later, my visit with the Niners and Steve Young. They're so close, they can taste it. But what happens if 94 is like 93 and 92, bad vintage? The quarterbacks. Doesn't get any better than this pair of crazy eights, Young and Troy Aikman. When we return the AFC game, Neil O'Donnell has come up rosy in recent weeks. Junior Seau hopes the Boltergeist defense can back up the Steelers in their home park. Can Stan be the man again for the Chargers? Blitzburg and Bolts when we come back.
At this rate, we'll never get...
You buy McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
I'm Leon Searcy.
Hi, I'm Justin Strobel.
Hi, I'm Dermontti Dawson.
I'm Duval Love.
I'm John Jackson.
This is the Steeler offensive line.
Coming up, the Steelers front wall opening up the desserts for Barry Bananas Foster and company. The Bolts can unleash some lightning themselves as Natron sure means business. But they are in Blitzburg, where all 11 Steelers unleash a defensive fury that has knocked many opponents straight into the Monongahela. We'll be back.
Please direct your attention to the coin toss.
Gentlemen, this is heads, this is tails. Captain, call it in the air.
To commemorate its 75th anniversary, the National Football League commissioned Balfour, maker of Super Bowl championship rings, to create the official game coin for each NFL team to be used during the opening toss of every game this season. And for a limited time, you can purchase one for just $59.95. Only 7,500 coins will be pressed for each team, and each coin is individually numbered with a signed certificate of authenticity. Each coin is minted with 1 troy ounce of fine silver and overlaid in pure 24-karat gold. Order now and receive this plush display case absolutely free. Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. Be a part of the action with your very own NFL flip coin.
Teams are selling out.
Welcome back to Game Day at the Confluence. Love that word. They are rekindling memories of the glorious Steelers of the 70s. It's the first time Pittsburgh has hosted an AFC title game since 1979, when the Steelers were en route to their 4th and final Super Bowl ring. Don't mention title game to the San Diego Chargers, who, dating back to the old AFL, are 1-6 in these jousts. Don't mention Pittsburgh to the Bolts either, because they're 1-9 there. But come to think of it, go ahead. That one was their one playoff meeting, 1982, a scintillating 31-28 San Diego win. Today, the Chargers get a major weather break, as the Three Rivers are far from frozen, even though they're extra wet. Here's our Mark Malone. Mark?
All right, thanks, Chris, and welcome to a very warm and very soggy Three Rivers Stadium. It has been raining since last night with occasional heavy downpours. Intermittent showers are expected to continue throughout the afternoon. However, the field has been covered. Now, because these two teams met 3 weeks ago, there should be no surprises. The Steelers feel as though they got a good read on San Diego's schemes and their personnel in that must-win game for the Chargers back in Week 17. Both teams want to control the game today by running the football. Foster and Morris for Pittsburgh, Means for the Chargers.
It's a huge line of scrimmage game. I do. I think we both like to run. I mean, that doesn't mean that we're going to, play a conservative football game. Certainly not us, and I don't think they've been doing that either.
Both teams will use a safety to control the line of scrimmage, but there is a fear that that might open up the middle of the field for a big play.
I think we have enough tools where we don't have to gamble. I think the risk of going out there and trying to gamble will kind of deteriorate, our game scheme.
Seau is still suffering from a weakness in his arm from a damaged nerve, so look for the Steelers to run right at him, as well as test the outside behind tight end Eric Green, who did not play in that first game. Offensively, San Diego's multiple tight end sets seem well equipped to handle the Pittsburgh blitz, which lately has tailed off in its sack production.
we feel we've got to mix up what we're doing, if people are going to release 2 receivers into the pattern and keep everybody else in the block, then we're going to attempt to double cover their 2 wide receivers that are in the pattern.
And Joe, to give you some idea how this scheme has affected the Steeler defense, Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green had accounted for 24 of the team's league-leading 55 sacks this season, but neither has registered a sack since December 4th.
Mark, you bring up a great point when you talk about the offense of the Chargers. I had an opportunity to play in a similar style of offense, and the #1 key for the Chargers is protection. I'm going to show you what happens and how effective Pittsburgh can be when you give them an open end. Watch up top. You'll see Ron Woodson sneak into the picture. Now, Jeff Blake is going to go back and pass. He thinks he's got everything picked up, but he doesn't. He's on the ground. Now the Chargers turn around. They go with the 2 tight ends, the H-back off the ball, the tight end on the ball. Stan Humphries will go back now, play action pass, great protection, great time to survey the field, have an opportunity to look around. I really think the big key in this game is how well that offensive line protects Stan Humphries, but they don't give him an open side to come at him, Phil.
You're right, Joe. I think they can pick up the blitz. The thing that would worry me, can they take advantage of that Pittsburgh secondary? Because as I look at the game today, I see one big advantage for the Steelers. Their secondary against the Charger wide receivers. Let's look at Pittsburgh's secondary right here. We all know about Rod Woodson one corner, but how about the other corner, Deion Figures? Here you see he's not only in position to defend the pass, but he almost intercepts it. Now you take those 2 corners, back them up with Darren Perry, Carnell Lake at safety time. We're talking about a good, solid secondary.
Well, we just heard Bobby Ross talk about both teams wanting to run the football. For the San Diego Chargers, that means Natron Means 139 yards last week. I think it will take a similar effort for him this week for the San Diego Chargers to be successful. But for Pittsburgh's defense, we're going to hear some names that aren't household names. Chad Brown, Levon Kirkland, Joel Steed at the nose tackle, responsible for stopping Natron. And I'll give you the number just like last week. Natron 100 yards, they win. Natron less than 80, they go back to California.
Well, we all know, Tommy, how good that Steeler defense is and how much they can dictate. Therefore, San Diego won't have that many chances inside the red zone. They can't do what they did in the first half against Miami. San Diego's like 41% scoring touchdowns in the red zone, one of the worst in the NFL. They got to be better than that and cash in on every opportunity against the Steelers. They won't have many. Let's head back now to the former Steeler and Charger, Mark Malone. As a matter of fact, let's rush back because, after all, that's what these teams can do.
All right, thanks, Boomer. You know, the Steelers have long had a rich tradition of running the football, but since Ron Earhart took over the offense 3 years ago, he's managed to build on that tradition. Last week, his #1 ranked rushing offense ran up 238 yards on 51 attempts against the Browns, opening the eyes of the most ardent aerial aficionados.
The art of run blocking. We want to be physical and run the ball at people and let them know we're here for business. I think it's more of attitude than anything. Here at the Steelers, that's the mindset we have.
I think they just have a lot of pride that they can run block.
A mindset, an attitude, a feeling of pride. Whatever it is, it has worked for the Steelers' offensive line. The anchor of the NFL's #1 rushing team. They have taken the art of run blocking to a new level. And faith.
Our whole approach is to run the ball. That's what we do best.
There's never a time where they come out and say we can't run.
And we take the running game very serious. And, you know, they might bring 8, 9 people up there, but we're still going to run.
That philosophy is a trademark of offensive coordinator Ron Earhart. 2 Super Bowl wins with the Giants have made believers out of his thundering herd.
He emphasized us running the ball so much, we think that's the only thing we can do is run the ball.
I think a lot of people, they throw the ball to score, but you got to run to win.
It gives us a sense of pride knowing that if this doesn't work, we're going to come back and try it again and again and again.
That's been a philosophy that I've been with. Get some points on the board. Now let's let the air out of the ball. Let's let that clock tick down. Let's go home.
How many times do you guys lobby Neil or on the sidelines Ron Earhart to run the football?
We don't have to.
No, I think that's in Ron's nature. You know, he's going to run no matter what. So
yeah, that's no lobbying.
We don't have to talk him into it.
I always tell him, I said, you know, all you got to do is give me 2, 3 looks, and if I see what I see and what I like, we're just going to keep doing it.
How long a time has it taken for you guys to kind of fit in and be able to bond, if you will, as an offensive line?
I think it was that last offensive line party we finally bonded, wasn't it?
Utilizing a variety of schemes, they can turn a confident defense into a confused defense. These 300-pound athletes do what few in the league can. Witness 3-time All-Pro and sometimes pulling center Monty Dawson.
He hikes the ball, pulls, knock out about 3 guys, and keep on going and take somebody else out. It's amazing.
What combinations of things can we do? We don't want to come out and do the same thing every time.
We can change up on you. We can come with the power game at you, then we can pull on you, then we can finesse you, then come back and hit you right in the mouth again.
As you might expect after seeing that piece, Tommy, Ron Earhart and the Steelers offense will not try and avoid the AFC's #1 rushing defense. Despite their size, Earhart told me he will run right at them.
Well, Mark, this offensive unit is a reflection of Earhart, and what he wants to do is win time of possession. In his last 2 playoff wins, he has controlled the ball for 41-plus minutes. And quite simply, Phil, if you only have the ball for 19 minutes as the opposing offense, it's not enough to win the football game.
Yeah, it's hard to win under those circumstances, Tom. And let's look at Ron Earhart and what he has done. With the Giants in 1990, he did it with power. With the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's doing it with angles. Let's look at a play last week that illustrates the angles the Steelers get. Andre Hastings blocking down the linebacker. You'll see the tackle, Jackson, blocking down the defensive tackle. John L. Williams in the backfield is going to go for the outside leg of the defensive end. You'll see him execute all 3 of these. Now look, they got him inside. Duval Love, his ability, pulling outside, kicking out the corner. Barry Foster will run for 10 yards before the first person touches him. And Joe, if you want to play offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you've got to be able to block for the run.
You know, you really bring up some excellent points, powers and angles in that offensive line. But what I really think sets this offensive line apart, besides the pride that they can block anywhere, they block down the field. I want to show you how this offensive line gets down the field. Here's a handoff to Barry Foster. You see the guards come around. We've seen this so much, the initial blocks at the line of scrimmage. But keep an eye on the center, John Jackson, number 65. He is running stride for stride with Barry Foster. As a matter of fact, he goes out there and he passes them. That's what I think the big difference is, Boom. I think you get out there and you get those linemen downfield 20 yards, and one more block, it's 6.
The guy that's got to cut off those angles and get inside of him, Junior Seau. I know he's been playing hurt. He has to use his athletic ability to disrupt. If he can, the Chargers have a chance. But if he's neutralized, they're in trouble, I think. Back to the NFC game, a.k.a. Armageddon 3. The 49ers were the team of the 80s, but they've become the bridesmaid of the 90s. The old Niners came to an end in the 1990 championship game when the Giants knocked out Joe Montana. In the 92 game, the new Niners were passed by the Cowboys. At that point, it was reinforced in the 93 game. Now it's Dallas that's the team of the 90s, but the Niners just won't stand for it. Owner Eddie DeBartolo Jr. and President Carmen Policy dared to be great, damned the torpedoes, quickly became the Boris Spassky's of the salary cap because every move dictated 3 more. And while other teams cried foul, the 49ers played by the rules and played better than everybody else. Today comes the moment of truth. Can they win the big one? Even if you play a great game, Dallas wins Sunday. What happens? Is the season a waste?
Well, yes.
The best laid plans almost didn't work. A battered team began 3-2, but then came the roll, one that carried through the Dallas game in Week 11, 21-14, with the big news being the 14. The offense no longer stood alone.
Everybody knows how much work we've done in the offseason to bring in a defense that could stop the Cowboys. We know how important it is to win this game for this franchise, and really, we have a lot of pressure on us to win this game.
This is the big game. This is what everybody knew it was going to come down to. That's why I'm here. That's why Ricky Jackson is here. That's why Charles Mann, Richard Dent's, Gary Promise. That's why we're here.
They brought me here for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons was to help them win this championship game, and I'm not going to let them down.
I've enjoyed this season more than any since I've been coaching because of the different personalities, and to see them kind of come together and from all the different walks of life and different clubs and so forth. I honestly couldn't describe it, and I've tried to describe it a couple of times to the team, how exciting and exhilarating it would be to then win this ball game.
If you lose to the Cowboys in the title game, is the season a waste?
Big waste.
If you lose to the Cowboys Sunday, is the season a waste?
Definitely.
Steve Young has never had a season as brilliant as this one, and his teammates know it. A poignant moment came last week when he was hit late by the Bears after scoring a touchdown. Jerry Rice and the rest of the offense arrived in a flash. These are the 49ers of '94.
You expect your lineman to come cruising through, you know, but when the world's greatest wide receiver comes in and bones up some guy, you know, that's not bad.
If you take a shot at him and he's out of bounds or something like that, the players is going to support him. They're going to come to his rescue.
From the places that I've come and the kind of scrutiny that I'm under in San Francisco, you got a sense that every time you kind of knock down one of the hurdles, there's a sense of confidence, there's a sense of accomplishment.
If you lose to the Cowboys Sunday,
if you do lose on Sunday, for either team, the season's a waste.
The NFL's best record at 13-3, 505 points, the fourth highest total ever, 112.8, the highest quarterback rating in NFL history.
If you don't beat the Cowboys, is the season a waste?
Not a waste, Boomer. I mean, we all know that that's probably not the case because there's been some great things that have happened already this year for the 49er organization and for guys individually. But as a team, if we don't take the Super Bowl, then we really haven't achieved what we came out to do. I can speak for myself. I can't handle losing my fourth one of these things.
We set goals doing mini camp, doing training camp, of getting to the Super Bowl. So I feel like the season, no doubt, would be a waste if we lose this game.
It's not like we don't tell you at the beginning of the season what we're about. To our credit, we're willing to put ourselves out there and say, if we don't get it, don't give us any credit. You know, we're willing to take that risk because that, to me, allows you the chance to go all the way.
What a high-stakes game this is. 12 months of work rolled into just 60 minutes. If Steve Young can win today and win again 2 weeks from now, he'll be able to play the rest of his career in peace and quiet. But Tommy, nobody knows that more than Mr. Young himself.
Well, and you got those Cowboys trying to upset that peace and quiet. This game is going to come down to, can Steve Young be rattled as he has been the last two NFC Championship games? The Cowboys like to play with a lot of people at the line of scrimmage, get on top of him quickly, and force him to cause mistakes. Of course, if they don't get there, then they open themselves up to big plays from that 49er offense, Phil.
You're right, Tom, and there's a couple ways to take the pressure off of Steve Young. Have him go to three-step drops, get rid of the ball quickly before that Cowboy rush can get there. And also, when you want to go down the field, keep a back in for that added protection. That's how you take the pressure off of Steve Young, Joe.
You're talking about have them change a little bit?
Yes, I am.
Get out of here, Phil. Come on. They're not going to change. The 49ers don't have to change a thing they've done. They don't have to concern themselves with Emmitt Smith being healthy or not. The 49ers only have to go out and play their kind of football. Don't fumble the football, because the only team I believe that can beat the 49ers, Boom, is the 49ers.
Well, Joe, here's one thing they don't want to change. Inside the 20, every 4 times they had the ball, 3 of them touchdowns, by far and away the best in the NFL. They don't change that, they're going to Miami. When we continue here on our 45-minute game day, Deion Sanders wasn't tested by the Bears today. He'll be on center stage against the Cowboys receivers. We will return to Pittsburgh, where despite the question marks, Neil O'Donnell has delivered. We'll be back.
MC River Stadium gets ready for the AFC Championship game. Junior Seau, the Chargers' terrific linebacker who has been slowed by a shoulder injury, but still, he's on his way to the Pro Bowl. At the beginning of the season, not much was expected of the San Diego Chargers. Some picked them dead last in the AFC West. Instead, they're getting ready for the AFC Championship game. Preparation that began just moments after last Sunday's dramatic win over the Dolphins.
Super win! Super win! But we can't be too euphoric, man! We got one thing that we're coming for. What is that? Now we got to get ready for Pittsburgh, okay?
Junior Pete Stojanovich's field goal attempt sails wide. You guys celebrate like there's no tomorrow. Was there too much celebration? Because it appeared like you guys had reached the top of the mountain when there's still a lot of work to do.
We're not hanging on the chandeliers and saying that we did the ultimate. We're just saying that we're going further than was expected of us, and we're ready for the challenge.
Short yardage set, and they got it, and more.
We did have some injuries in key positions, I mean, and the people that were out for the game against San Diego were very, very important people to the team.
A lot of people will say, well, they didn't have all their horses and all that. Well, maybe that is a factor, but we didn't play well either.
We're not going to make no excuses
far as who was in the lineup and who wasn't in the lineup, you know, I don't think that's being a man.
Go out there and execute to your abilities. What's an intensity level? You know what's riding on it. Now let's go.
There's probably very few people that believe that we can win, okay, except I believe we can win. And I believe our players believe they can win.
There's a whole bunch of teams wish they was right here with the no respect Ronnie Dangerfield Chargers.
Probably teams around the league that's played both of us. Maybe you're thinking, hey, you know, San Diego's got no shot in Pittsburgh, but you know, us as a football team and staff, we feel like that as long as we play our game plan, we feel like we have a shot.
Border Patrol, nobody cross.
That's right.
Nobody cross.
Got to get checked when you cross the border.
So what's it going to take to win this one? Shutting down the run.
We've got to be able to run the football on them.
Here's Means behind him. Touchdown.
The Steelers are saying that if they stop me, I guess they totally stop the Chargers. I don't think that's the case. I think if they stop me, they obviously slow us down. But I just don't see us or our running game just being totally shut down.
Running game, obviously, the key as it has begun to rain harder again here. I think the biggest question is, can that Charger defense stop Pittsburgh's ground game today, Joe?
Well, the good news is, Greg, they've done it for 28 straight games without giving up a 100-yard rusher. The bad news is, the last time it happened, it was Barry Foster. I do think, barring turnovers, the rushing game today is going to be a key for both these teams.
Speaking of turnovers, we've talked all year long about fewest turnovers means the winner. That didn't happen last week. San Diego turned the ball over 3 times, Miami none. The Chargers won that game. They can't afford to do that today, Mike.
But to have a shot in this game, the Chargers cannot turn it over like they did last week with the 2 interceptions and the fumble by Means, because they're going up against the #1 defense in the AFC. So they've got to hold on to the football. If they do that, they got a great chance to win this football game.
All right, gentlemen, let's hand it back over to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Greg. The San Diego Chargers have played in 2 previous AFC championships, the first time following the 80 season, then again after the 81 season, losing both. So they're looking to make it to the Super Bowl for the first time. Jim Gray is on the Chargers sideline. Jim?
Okay, thank you very much, Ahmad. I had the opportunity to speak to a number of the Charger players this morning. This is not a loose group. I was in the locker room. It was very quiet. There's an awful lot of tension and anxiety, and we found that out when we spoke with Junior Seau a short time ago.
Can you describe the mood of the team, Junior?
The mood is we're serious, and you know, we're looking forward to the game.
About their offense, the ball control offense.
We'll take care of that today.
Well, all of the talking is now over. Now, I had the opportunity to speak with Bobby Ross, the head coach of the Chargers, and he told me in his pregame speech that he will emphasize 3 things to his team. Number 1, that they cannot afford to fall behind early and rely on coming back like they have all year because the Steelers have such a great ball control offense. Number 2, Pittsburgh leads the league in turnover ratio, plus 14. He's going to re-emphasize that they cannot make any mental mistakes. And number 3, he doesn't want his team to be distracted by the Steelers' intimidation factors, such as trash talking, crowd noise, and to stay focused with what's on the field. Now, Bobby Ross also told me he was very unhappy with his team's preparation this week. He said that he was unhappy because they didn't get much in because of all the rain in Southern California. On the injury side, Sean Lee will not start on the defensive line. He is out of today's game and will be replaced by John Patella. That's the story from the Chargers sideline. Let's go across to Will McDonough.
Bobby. Thanks very much, Jim. We're here with Dan Rooney, the president of the Steelers, getting wet together. Danny, at the start of the year, did you ever think this team had the potential to get here today in an AFC Championship game?
I really did. I thought that our leaders had to develop and mature, like, you know, Lloyd and O'Donnell and Woodson and people like that, and Bill Cowher really getting them going, and I really felt that we could do it.
You knew they had the players from other years, but let's talk about something else today. Your dad was the founder of this team. This is the first championship game he's missed in Pittsburgh. I think his spirit is still in this stadium today.
His influence is definitely here. The people really know the kind of tone he set for us, that people mean so much, the fans, the players, and everybody, and we miss him, but I agree with you, his influence is here.
Danny, thanks very much. Now let's throw a forward lateral back to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Will. When we return, we will talk about instant replay. Would have had an impact last week in San Diego. Natron Means scored a touchdown that should have been called back. We'll return to Pittsburgh right after these messages.
If this was your night to drive, if this was your wrong turn.
Green led the NFL in sacks with 14. He will have Pittsburgh fans waving their terrible towels for most of the next 3 hours. as he's been doing all year long. Will McDonough has his news and notes from around the league. He rejoins us from the Pittsburgh sideline. Will.
Okay, Greg, thanks very much. Let's start out in San Francisco, where Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, is still looking for the edge. Jerry went to the National Football League yesterday and said, I do not want Jimmy Johnson on the field before this game today. Jimmy's his former coach. He's out there for television. He said Jimmy would be a distraction to our players and our coaches. The NFL said Jimmy can do whatever he wants. Jerry didn't stop there. He went to the league and said, I want 100 brand new footballs for this game, one for every play. The NFL said, we usually only have 25. There's a compromise at 60. The reason Jerry wants this is that he knows that Troy Aikman has his toughest games with a wet football. Let's go to Tampa Bay, where I think the Tampa Bay Bucks could be sold tomorrow to Malcolm Glazier, a businessman for Florida, for $192 million. He said he would not move the team for 2 years. If he does move it, it's going to cost him another $35 million. Let's look at the coaches around the league. Let's start with the St. Louis Rams. This is their hit list. Ernie Zampese of the Cowboys is #1. I don't think he takes the job. I think they'll go to Ray Rhodes. Keep an eye on Barry Alvarez. He interviewed with Philadelphia in the last 2 days. Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of Philadelphia, is in San Francisco as we speak, as is Pat Bowlen, the owner of Denver. They are waiting for San Francisco game to be over. If the Niners lose, both of them go after him as the coach. And one more thing. This is for Mike and Joe. This is about instant replay. I took a poll of the 30 teams in the league this year. This is how it came out. 16 yes, 11 no, 3 undecideds. Replay is dead for next year. No further review. This is conclusive, Greg.
All right, Will, thanks very much. What does that tell you, that poll?
It tells me this. We can't ignore what happened last week in those playoffs. The mistakes were made. This game is moving too fast to be called by part-time of human officials who are trying to do a great job without using all the technology we have. A mistake like that today in a game like this, when it's close towards the end, and we could all be sitting here saying the credibility of the league's at stake.
Mike, is that what it's going to take, a mistake in a big game?
Well, it's going to take that, but the fans want it. The fans demand it, and I think for the good of the game, it should come back and be put in effectively.
All right, gentlemen, the noise is picking up. We will wrap up our year-long Pick of the Week competition right after this.
I don't say this to many people.
Who introduces the new Odyssey, the Honda of minivans. Joe Gibbs is the champ. We'll have the check presentation to his favorite charity right after this message from Honda.
Champion beating out, I don't know how esteemed a field it is, the check for $25,000 from Honda to Joe's favorite charity, Youth for Tomorrow. We had some fun, raised some money, a good cause, Joe.
Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. What did you think?
I feel like I'm going to cry.
Hey, I want to thank Honda. It's going to help at-risk kids, teenage kids, Youth Tomorrow.
Who picks a winner in this? Pick a winner in this one. Never mind. We'll get it later. Let's pick up the introduction to the Pittsburgh Steelers out on the field. One half of Super Bowl 29 to be determined here today. The Steelers or the Chargers? We'll send you over to Dick Enberg and Bob Trumpy for the call right after these words from your local station.
Coming Monday, Steven Seagal is a man on a deadly mission.
San Francisco, a game billed as Super Bowl 29, the real Super Bowl. Well, don't tell that to Bill Cowher, the impassioned head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who grew up just minutes from Three Rivers Stadium. He's well aware of Pittsburgh's championship tradition and intent on returning Super Bowl glory to his hometown. When Cowher himself played the game as an undersized overachiever, he knew the importance of being aggressive and quick. And now, as the coach, he never passes up a chance to remind his players.
Someone's got to throw the first punch. And I'll tell you what, let's not wait around. Let's deliver, not accept. Let's go.
Don't tell him the AFC champion will just be a Super Bowl sacrificial lamb. Don't tell Pittsburgh linebacker Greg Lloyd that this game is second best. Lloyd was abandoned at 2 years old, raised by his aunt, never knew his father. Football his focus, his love, his teammates, his family.
I work my butt off just as hard as any other guy. You can't put down what I've done to get here. Hey, these guys over here playing the Super Bowl, and what you've done doesn't matter right now. That's BS.
when he takes the field with his Steeler brothers today. Don't tell him Dallas and San Francisco's game is the Super Bowl. San Diego's head coach Bobby Ross is an intense, unrelenting, forceful leader. Maybe it was his time as an Army tank commander, or the years he spent paying his dues as a college coach. Regardless, Ross is not afraid to let you know how he feels and doesn't like being disrespected.
Well, in my heart, it bothers me. To me, they don't know our football team, and they don't know myself, and I think they don't know the game of football.
Don't tell Bobby Ross today's game is for naught. San Diego wide receiver Mark Say used his own body as a human shield to save his niece from a drive-by shooting. His heroics almost cost him his life. He's minus a kidney. He still carries a bullet inches from his heart. He came very close to never playing football again, so don't tell him today in Pittsburgh is less important than San Francisco. These dedicated men in Pittsburgh are about to compete for the AFC Championship, saluted as one of only 4 teams left in the playoffs that requires strength, dedication, talent, courage. Pittsburgh, San Diego, don't tell any of these men how big this game is. One will win today, and then one will have something to prove in the real Super Bowl. And don't tell these rabid, terrible, towel-waving fans at Three Rivers Stadium that this game is any less important than the one that will be played at Candlestick Park later. The winner goes to Super Bowl 29. Will it be the San Diego Chargers or the Pittsburgh Steelers? Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg along with Bob Trumpy, and welcome to Blitzburg. Blitz as in 55 of them to lead the NFL and to set a Pittsburgh franchise record. It's a very unique defensive system. Give us some insight.
Yeah, there's no question it's Blitzburg. 10 of the 11 starters that Pittsburgh has on the field have sacks. But here's the play from the Bengals. They threaten the line of scrimmage with 7 players. The offense's problem is who's coming. On this particular play, they really only pressure the quarterback with 3 players. Rod Woodson, the gifted cornerback, is the guy who makes the sack, and they have a linebacker who drops out. The problem is the quarterback thinks he sees blitz when in fact it's zone. Woodson is unblocked. It's an easy sack.
So for San Diego, the problem is 7 are up there. Which 5 are coming? How do they attack it?
They got to stay out of long yardage situations. San Diego today, key number, they've got to win first down. That's at least 5 yards every first down.
More on the Chargers. Let's go to their sideline and John Dockery.
Dick, some bad news for the San Diego Charger defense as they try to shut down a high-octane Steeler run game. Defensive tackle Sean Lee, all 300 pounds of him, one of their best run stoppers, is out. John Perella steps in. That hurts the Charger defense. So don't expect them to sit in their base defense. Rather, they'll stunt, slant, gamble, blitz, and do what they can to shut down Barry Foster and Van Morris. As you can see, folks, it's raining here at Three Rivers. For more on that, to you, Hannah Storm on the other sideline.
Thanks, John. Well, the field's been uncovered for 2 hours now, and it's getting slicker by the minute. I noticed in warm-ups, the receivers were running a lot of 7 to 10-yard turning patterns in anticipation of the defensive backs not being able to plan and drive on the slick field and not being able to cover those patterns. Also talked to Neil O'Donnell. He was the first guy out here today. He said the field is wettest down the middle between the numbers, and that when you get to those places where the logos are painted on the field, he said it's as slick as ice. And finally, how are they going to keep the footballs dry today? Usually you'll see a team use 24 footballs in the course of a game. They have been allotted double that amount. Each team will use 48 to keep those dry footballs coming in the game, Dick.
All right, John, Hannah, thank you very much. The Steelers will get the ball first. John Carney, who led the NFL.
They come out throwing the football and throwing it very well.
Well, I think you're right, Greg. I think the effectiveness of these 2 quarterbacks is the story here. Neil O'Donnell, 179 yards in the first half. Now, we're going to show you how he's getting most of those yards is against man-to-man coverage. Look, we've circled here after the play has already started. All of these guys are playing man-to-man coverage, and this is a good example on the touchdown. The arrow shows you one-on-one trying to cover somebody, San Diego, and boom, we hit a touchdown. O'Donnell does. They've got most of their passing yardage against man-to-man coverage. I think San Diego's going to have to back off and play more zone here to try and slow down Neil O'Donnell. Now, on the other side of it, Stan Humphries has only completed 1 pass for 15 yards. Here, we're going to see Pittsburgh with that little fake blitz. Now, Stan thinks this is an all-out blitz. He throws the ball quick. But look, only 4 guys rushing and 7 back here, a big 7 defending. They fool him on this. This is an example of how tough it is to attack Pittsburgh.
All right, now, Mike, perhaps the biggest play in the first half for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dion figures an interference call, and the Chargers come away with a field goal instead of a touchdown.
Well, you don't know that's going to happen, but it's a great play on Figures' part. San Diego has been terrible all year. They're second worst in the NFL, scoring inside the 20-yard line, and it proved again true today. They try to rush it in 3 times. This is the third one, but this is not Means' fault. Watch what happens there. The linemen are pushed back into him. He has no gap to hit, so it's not his fault. But it's a great job by the Steeler defense. I think it bears out the fact that they're confident. They're doing what they have to do. This game looks a lot like the one last week. That's the only thing that scares me.
All right, let's keep one thing in mind. Last week, the Chargers went in at halftime down 21-6. They came back in the second half, shut out the Dolphins, and rallied to win 22-21. We will continue our first half analysis. We'll get field reports from Jim Gray and Will McDonough, and we'll do all of that right after this from your local station.
Thursday, new episode Super Bowl 29, 2 weeks from today in Miami. Let's get team reports started with Jim Gray on the San Diego side. Jim?
Okay, thank you very much, Ahmad. I talked to Junior Seau as he went off the field. He suffered a stinger in his left shoulder. He said he's all right. He will be back. It shouldn't be a problem, even though it has been a problem for him all season. He said we need to get our offense back on the field. We have to do something to make a big play. He said we didn't expect the Steelers to pass as much as they have, and we need to get some pressure on the quarterback in the second half, and I expect, he said, that we'll make the adjustment. That's the story from the Chargers. Let's go across the way to Will McDonough.
Nice going, Jimmy. Adjustments was the word that Ron Earhart used before he went into the Steeler locker room. He told me our offensive line is not blocking well. They're giving us trouble slipping a man behind the nose tackle. We will continue to throw deep. We can hurt them deep. I mentioned Junior Seau. He had one word: unbelievable. Back to you, Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Will. We have heard from just about everybody on today's second game, the NFC Championship between Dallas and San Francisco. Everyone except Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs. Mike, how do you size it up?
Well, I think the wet field is going to be an advantage for the 49ers for this reason. I think receivers know where they're going. The 49ers have 3 of the best receivers in football in their tight end and the 2 outside receivers, Rice and Taylor. I think they'll do that. They'll spread out Dallas, try to loosen up the defense, and run some traps inside and counters. I picked the 49ers to win the game and cover the spread.
All right, Joe?
I really think the field is now put the favor on the Dallas Cowboys side. Their offensive line now is a bigger line that fires straight out. I think it's going to hurt the 49ers pulling and trapping and all the moving around that they do on the field. And remember, this defense by Dallas last time, it was only 21-14 and Aikman threw 3 interceptions. I don't think that'll happen today. I look for Dallas and a soggy field and a big offensive line to knock them back. And I think they got a good chance to win this game today.
Now, I would be remiss if I did not ask you how you size up today's game.
Because the whole world awaits this one.
That is exactly right.
And only because Joe Gibbs says it looks like a good Dallas victory. I'm convinced San Francisco so far has proven itself to be the best team in the league this year. So, hey, I'll go with the 49ers.
All right. Well, we'll send it back to Dick Enberg and Bob Trumpy for the second half right after this message from the National Football League.
We're down to the playoffs. Now we've got to...
Barger, you can tell how many years he's been on the sideline. Hendrickson, a little more emotional.
3rd and goal.
Darnell.
And Seau gets plenty of company. Davis, along with Griggs and others, to stop, and it's 4th and goal, and timeout number 2 taken by Bill Cowher. 4th down and goal at the 3-yard line. 3 precious yards of turf from a possible Super Bowl visit.
Dick, I don't know what the outcome of the rest of this game is going to be, but I want more. Let's let them rest for 15 minutes regardless of the final score. Play one more quarter.
You're not satisfied?
No.
Well, it's been typical of the AFC drive throughout the year. We've seen this week in, week out. Look at Cowher trying to relax his team, a big smile. And the Chargers trying to feel some frustrated unity on the sidelines. Nothing you can do but to offer your deepest hopes and prayers. Look at Cowher saying to O'Donnell, hey, isn't this fun?
Don't you love this?
And Neil O'Donnell said his mother turned 71 yesterday. This would be her birthday present. And he said the trip to the Super Bowl would be my dad's because he would have the best seat in the house.
There's Stan Humphries standing next to Sid Brooks. That's his lucky spot. Let's see if it works.
This is it. Incomplete, and it was Dennis Gibson on the coverage. And the San Diego Chargers flood the field with 1 minute and 4 seconds left. It's not over. 1:04 left, and the ball is at the 3-yard line. But San Diego has the luxury of even giving up a safety in this situation.
The ball is intended for Barry Foster. And Gibson does a great job. He reads it all the way, knocks the ball away. Beautifully done by Gibson. You can see the sideline of the San Diego Chargers explode. Even Barry Foster is falling down, sliding.
And Dennis Gibson, one of those complimentary players who does his job. Now, he was burned for the opening touchdown, but comes back to make the big save. Pittsburgh has only 1 timeout left, and that will be it for them. So with 1 minute and a second left, the Chargers need only a couple of kneel downs, and it'll be a long flight to Miami.
As I said before, Stan Humphries has a lucky spot. That's Sid Brooks, the equipment man of the San Diego Chargers. Whenever they need luck, Humphries runs to Sid Brooks. Well, it was a lucky spot this afternoon.
And Neil O'Donnell had taken his team 80 yards, and a terrible towel that had been captured apparently by Chris Mims. And even Bill Arnsbarger able to celebrate. Well, of all the unlikely stories of this football season, we are witnessing one with a star above it. The San Diego Chargers. So few thought they even had a chance in their own division, much less be the representative of the AFC in the Super Bowl. And Bill Cowher's team heavily favored today. Humphries staying in the field of play, and Pittsburgh now can only watch the seconds tick away until Bobby Ross's team snaps it again.
I don't know how much credit or where you spread the credit around in this franchise to Bobby Beathard, to Bobby Ross, to Mr. Spanos. I mean, what they lost in the offseason, what they had to rebuild was absolutely remarkable. And Bobby Ross has stayed with these players.
Gary Plummer went to San Francisco. That's why Dennis Gibson is here, and Gibson makes the play. Although the wide receivers generally around the league, they say that not one of these wide receivers could start on another NFL team. And some of the emotions coming out now as Humphries kneels for what should be the final seconds of this game. Bill Cowher and Bobby Ross. Stan Humphries waited 4 years in Washington, stood on the sidelines and watched the Redskins win a Super Bowl, and now he'll get his own chance.
Yeah, remember what he told us about that Super Bowl, too. When he was at Washington, he was Jim Kelly. He was the scout team quarterback for Washington. He played Jim Kelly.
John Dockery has the San Diego head coach.
Coach, do you realize that you're going to the Super Bowl first time ever for San Diego?
Oh, yeah, we realize it, John. We've been talking about it for a long time, and, you know, we're very happy to be going. It's a character team, and we just hung in there and fought. The second half, came back and played very well.
You know, you didn't get much respect coming into the game. Was that part of it, the rallying point for you?
Well, we've talked about that quite a bit because we really haven't had much, you know, but we're going to... Okay.
Go get him.
A hell of a game.
Coach, talking respect. Are we back?
Yeah, we're having trouble with the crowd and the weather and the audio. The employee owners of Avis salute the game's most valuable player. Junior Seau is the winner of today's We Try Harder award. 12 tackles, 4 assists, 1 deflection. Avis, the official rental company of the NFL. Junior Seau. And Hannah Storm is right there.
Junior, I saw Neil O'Donnell embrace you just then after the game. What did you guys say to each other?
He just had to represent the AFC well, and you know, he's a great sport. He's a great quarterback. He came in here and played his heart out, came down in one play, and we're fortunate to get that one.
You played your heart out. You completely took them out of their running game. Talk about how you disrupted their offense.
Well, all week we've been hearing about the running game. They have a great running game with Barry Foster and Bam. And, you know, we had to come out here and prove that, you know, we have a defense too.
Junior, you guys are remarkable. You guys were the ultimate underdogs coming in here, winning your division, now going to the Super Bowl. What is it about this team?
We've been underdogs all the way.
Love you, babe. Love you. Love you.
All the way through the season, and that's an unfortunate thing, but you know, you had to do something rare in the league to get the respect that we want, and hopefully we can do that in 2 weeks.
All right, let's send it back to Dick Ember. Good luck in the real Super Bowl.
Right. So led by Humphreys and Means on offense and Seo and O'Neal on defense, the Chargers will go to the Super Bowl for the first time. Pittsburgh stays home. A resourceful group. San Diego has rallied from behind once again, and for it they go to Miami. 17-13 Chargers. Stay tuned. Head and Shoulders NFL Live post-game report. The awarding of the Lamar Hunt Trophy to the AFC champion San Diego Chargers.
This is your 5th NFC Championship you're covering. 6 AFC you played in. Do you still get the itch?
Absolutely, JB. Like I said, I really couldn't sleep last night. I was excited to get up. This is what it's all about, a chance to win a game and go on and be a part of history, winning a Super Bowl.
All right, and we're going to tap the collective expertise of you guys in just a bit, but ever since he re-injured his hamstring last week, Emmitt Smith has had more people discussing the shape of his legs than did Sharon Stone after Basic Instinct. Well, guess what? Pat Summerall and John Madden have an update, and no, not on Sharon, but on Emmitt. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much. And I can't remember, John, a more exciting game. Every cliche you've ever heard about this being a big one fits this one.
Well, we can just see how excited the guys were down there. And, you know, when we were talking to the players and coaches, they all had that same feeling. And I don't ever remember seeing two teams, the players, the coaches, everyone involved, as excited about the game as these two teams are about this one, and that includes Super Bowls.
And remember last year they had a fight? Well, this year they had another fight.
Yeah, last year, remember, this was in the championship game in Dallas. This was before the pregame introductions. They were getting all ready to be introduced, and boom, a fight breaks out. So you think, well, that'll never happen again. But watch what happened today in the pregame warm-ups. The 49ers are down there warming up. Here comes a batch of Cowboys, and they just start warming up in their warm-ups. And lo and behold, Pat, a fight breaks out. Look at this. There's action down there before the action.
And among those in that fight was number 22, Emmitt Smith. And, of course, his health has been one of the big question marks about his availability this week. I talked to him yesterday about how he felt.
I would say that I'm somewhere in the low 90s to mid-90s, if that. I don't think I'm not close to 100%, and I'm not actually running at a full speed tilt right now either. But I think I am moving around well enough where I can get yardage, plus yardage and stuff.
And he wants to get that plus yardage, and he was telling us last night that last week he didn't feel that he played smart, but today he wants to play a full game, and he wants to play smart and under control.
Of course, after Emmitt Smith, the next biggest story has been the weather and the condition of the field here at Candlestick. Well, Matt Millen is down there right now, so let's send it down to Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. You know, all week long they talked about the range, but hey, look, the football gods are with us. There's nothing in sight. And if you talk to the NFL about the field, they say it's in absolutely great shape. But if you come down here, take a look at this. If they think this is in good shape, they're going to have a lot of problems, because when you talk to the players, they say it's worse than it was last week. And when you talk to them about 2 years ago, they say it's even worse then. To make matters worse, at the baseball end of the field, it's really chewed up. In fact, last week, most of the drives in that divisional playoff game came down at this end, and the 49er offense chewed it up even more. One note that I think is very funny, you know, they talk about home field advantage. Now, this morning at 9:30, they took the tarps off. There was all kinds of rain, all kinds of water on top of it. Well, when they rolled them off, they dumped it all on the Dallas Cowboys sideline. JB, have a great one.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. And as we take a look at Matt, that's a tuxedo for Matt Millen to be wearing. Hey, Terry, look here. No question about it. San Francisco in the offseason free agent acquisitions, all for this game, this team, Dallas in mind. But you think win or lose, San Francisco could be making more moves?
Yeah, I tell you, there's going to be a big move. Even if the 49ers win this game and go on and win the Super Bowl, Jimmy Howie, well, I think you're going to see a move with Seifert. I think he's going to be removed as the head coach, and Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, will be moved up to head coach, and Seifert will be moved up to a management position. The reason is Shanahan has got two teams. He's got the Denver Broncos and the Philadelphia Eagles both want to hire him as their head coach. He is the offensive coordinator here. He is the only one on the 49er organization that can run the offense of the 49ers. That's why there's going to be a move.
You agree with it, Jimmy?
Oh, no. You're talking about George Seifert has the highest winning percentage of any coach in NFL history. And you're talking about getting rid of him even if he wins this ball game. Hey, there's something fishy here because I hear this offensive, continuity. I hear that maybe he's rigid and he doesn't relate well to the free-spirited players. Hey, I think what's not sitting right with this 49er organization is the last 3 times he went to the NFC Championship game, they came up short. That's not what's sitting right.
Yeah, I'd say those 2 NFC Championship games loomed large in George Seifert's mind. Talking to free agents prior this year, they said George Seifert is obsessed with the Dallas Cowboys. Not a week went by early on in the season, he did not mention the Cowboys, to the point where the free agents asked for a closed-door meeting and said, George, let it go. That's why you got us here. We'll take care of the Cowboys.
Well, I tell you what, if George Seifert can accommodate Deion Sanders and his expressionist style, he can accommodate anybody. All right, fellas, a lot of good stuff there, and we've got a lot more coming your way. Jimmy and Howie will give their keys to victory for both teams, and Terry has a timely interview with the Cowboys' Barry Switzer on the morning of the biggest game of his coaching career.
This is L.A.
Yes, they were picking on Willie Clark, our young rookie, who's going to be a heck of a corner, but it was just something that this team has been able to do. No matter what happens to them, they've been able to come back, and these are the kind of endings we're used to. And, it's just incredible what Bobby instills in this group. But you got to have the guys that have that heart, and they've done it. It's been great.
All right, Bobby, congratulations to you.
Thanks, John.
Bobby Beathard, the general manager of the San Diego Chargers. We'll be hearing from several more of these victorious Chargers right now. Let's send it back to Ahmad.
All right, Greg, our post-game report is just getting started. The Cowboys and the 49ers kick off at 4:05 Eastern time, so stay with us until then. And as a matter of fact, at 4 o'clock, we've got ladies golf, the Chrysler Plymouth LPGA Tournament of Champions. We will head back to the victorious Chargers locker room to hear from the AFC champs. We'll also hear from one of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs will offer their analysis. We will get started right after these messages from your local stations.
Can Leonard Nimoy save the Cartwrights' next generation?
Let's find out.
An all-new motion picture adventure.
Amazing!
Beam up to Bonanza.
Oh, that feels good.
NBC tonight.
What are the 4 main colors in printing?
Cyan, magenta, yellow, and black.
How is type measured?
In picas and points.
How can your regular phones work like an expensive system?
I have no idea.
You can't be an expert at everything. With simple features from US West like call forwarding, conference calling, and call transfer, your regular phones can work harder.
Weeks, especially so today. He and the San Diego Chargers are headed to Super Bowl 29 in Miami after a victory today over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Stan, congratulations to you. Let's first talk about the conditions out there and if it had any effect on you at all.
Well, it was a little rough out there early. I don't know if it's just me, maybe, throwing a wet ball. Maybe I'm not that good at throwing a wet ball in the rain or something, but I struggled early, and our team hung in there and gave me an opportunity to make some big plays towards the end of the game. And our defense played great the second half and held them down. We were able to make 2 big plays.
Yeah, just 1 of 5 in the first half. You didn't get that many opportunities because they did a pretty good possession of holding the football.
Yeah, they did. They run the ball well. They have possession routes, and they kept the ball away from us. And when we did have the ball, it's 3 plays and out. We wasn't doing some things that we went into the game trying to do. We've been a second-half team all year, and this is kind of the way we've played all year. It's kind of been ugly a little bit, and when they've been able to win. And you see here, just a touchdown here. They came out with a full-out blitz, and their cornerbacks kind of sit when they know they're coming with a full-out blitz. They think you're going to throw the 10- and 12-yard little routes to throw like a side adjust, and they sit a little bit. We decided to go by them and made a big play.
How many problems does that fake blitz give you when they look like they're going to blitz and then drop back into coverage?
It gives you a lot of problems. It really does, because a lot of times you don't think you have enough guys to pick them up, and then all of a sudden they drop out a defensive end or they drop out a nose guard or something, and then here comes the defensive back rushing, and they're still only rushing 5 guys, still playing coverage behind it. So it gives it a lot of problem. There's no doubt about that.
It looked like Natron Means really gave you the impetus in the second half.
He did. There's no doubt. I think our offensive line the last 2 weeks has played unbelievable. Running the football like we're going to do. That's what we got to do. That's our game plan, and if you can stop that, then we got to go to the passing game. But Natron is going to be first, and the way we've been going right now, that's the way we play.
What did you want to say to Joe Gibbs?
I wish Coach Gibbs could have been here with me today.
Oh, he's upstairs in the booth. He's watching.
All right. I wish we would have got one back there and played with him.
Congratulations to you, Stan. Joe Gibbs is our friend standing by in the booth. And joining me here on the podium now is tight end Alfred Papuno. Alfred, congratulations. A guy who came sort of out of nowhere today. Congratulations on a big game for you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I am very speechless right now. I don't know what to say.
How do you get as wide open as you were for that 43-yard touchdown catch?
It was a design play for me. It was a play pass because the way they're safe to support, I had to sail them run. And I think our offensive line and Dwayne Young did a great job selling it. And I stepped down, went out to the corner like I was blocking them, and went down side and left me completely wide open.
Yeah, is it a shock when you turn around and find no one near you?
No. Shock seeing that ball coming slowly, you know, but had to get it in, you know.
Yeah. Alfred, was it a frustrated offense in the first half?
It was a frustrated offense in the first half because we wasn't clicking as a team. And we came back in the second half and talked about our mistakes. We got it all together and came out.
Alfred, here's your touchdown play now, and this is about the time that you look around and find the football and no one else.
Oh, I was nervous because the first thing I was thinking of was dropping the ball when I was wide open.
All right, Alfred, congratulations to you, and have fun in Miami.
Thank you.
Alfred Papuno of the victorious San Diego Chargers. A timeout here and then more on the post-game report when we come back to Pittsburgh in just a moment.
Jump Dion down in the goal line. And the other thing, if you rotate over to the other side on Michael Irvin, you allow him a big pocket to roam in, and he can be a big possession receiver all day long. I don't think Dion will stay on Harper long.
Dion said pick your poison. Either go with the guy that moves the chains or the guy that beats you deep.
And Michael Irvin will run those crossing routes away from double coverage.
And we'll keep an eye on all of that to see what transpires during the game. Well, folks, the battle that's been a year in the making is only minutes away, and we'll be back with lots more, including Terry's pregame visit with head coach Barry Switzer. And there's pieces as they talked about Alvin Harper, who caught 3 balls for 135 yards against the Niners in November.
Serving up another great catch. Red Lobster provides.
The magnitude of it obviously doesn't compare, but the attention given to it. But, you know, when you play, the best plays the best for a national championship, whether it's Miami or Penn State or whoever it might be, the same emotion, the same intensity, the same focus goes into it. And I think the same preparation. So the rewards, the gains are the same, but doesn't have the meaning because this is the best level. This is the best players, and obviously more people watch that happening than any other sporting event there's ever been played, I guess.
Coach, what concerns you most about this game?
Well, coming into the game, I wish that we were 100% healthy. See, there are a lot of big question marks in this game today. Obviously, how long will Emmett play? No one knows. Emmett doesn't even know that, and we'll just have to find out. We'll start Emmett, and we'll just see how far we can go. We suffered this week in preparation because we had 3 linemen. 2A was injured. Nate missed half the preparation work, and Larry Allen is a big question mark going to the game today. His ankle was immobilized. He looked club-footed, practicing, very stiff, awkward-looking. I don't know how far he'll go. And Ron Stone is a third-team tackle.
If this is a close game near the end, what do you think will make the difference for the Cowboys to win?
The emotional edge won't be the difference in this ball game today. Every team will spill it out. We're all going to empty our buckets. We know this will be a 60-minute game. Last week we won it in 30 minutes. The difference today is in any game is the mental edge of being able to make the fewest mistakes played on the field by individual players, and that will always be the key. When 2 teams get together in the big ball game that are of comparable talent and ability, it'll be the team that makes the fewest mistakes. We made the most mistakes last time. They made none. Still a close ball game.
Looks as though Coach Swiffer has some problems. Maybe he feels his team is hurting a little bit in the offensive line, but Jimmy, there's some other problems too.
Well, Terry, both teams, they're concerned about the footing and what they're going to do. Steve Young normally wears a half-inch cleat on his shoe. Today, he's going to try the 5/8-inch cleat, and most of the linemen will be wearing this 3/4-inch cleat to try to get some footing. The Cowboys said that field is just like green mud, and so they're concerned about the footing now. Howie?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Troy Aikman's got some concerns.
Troy's worried about a wet ball. Obviously, last time he played in a big game, a wet ball was Philadelphia on Halloween. He went 9 for 19, under 100 yards. Now, normally in this game, they use 12 balls in the first half, 12 balls in the second half. Jerry Jones successfully petitioned the league to kick the number of balls up. They're going to use 24 in the first half, 24 in the second half with 12 emergency balls. But a big factor no one thinks of is a new ball's real slick. It could be worse than a wet ball.
The real problem is get the mud off the ball. That's the reason it's slipped. You dip it in water, come out with it, you're fine.
Wow, so the owner may have out-slicked himself there, Howie. All right, folks, we'll be right back with some final thoughts on our final pregame show of this season as we take a look and a listen to the Dallas Cowboys being introduced to the San Francisco crowd.
Texas El Paso, number 92, Tony Tolbert. Left tackle from Miami of Florida, number 67, Russell Maryland. And right tackle from Concordia State, number 78, Leon Lett. And right end from James Madison, number 94, Charles Haley.
Here I come! He's got the moves.
Are you some kind of idiot?
The look. The brains.
Oh, really, Ford? Really?
But to get his inheritance, he needs a diploma.
I can do this if I set my mind to it.
Class, say hello to Billy Madison.
Adam Sandler.
Now you're all in big, big trouble.
Billy Madison.
You want some more of that? I didn't think so!
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, February 10th at theaters everywhere.
I don't say this to many people, but the job we do is the most important job I can think of.
Okay, guys, listen up.
I mean, there's no such thing as a B-plus mechanic on this airline.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Even the most junior mechanic can keep an airplane in this hangar if there's a hint of a problem. We might think a job like this would become routine, but every now and then, I just take a walk through the terminal, and right there, you see what's important.
Now, an oil made just for your hard-working engine. 4x4 from Quaker State. Off-roading, extreme temperatures, towing and hauling. They all make your light truck or 4x4 work extra hard and could shorten its life. Why settle for a...
And right tackle from North Carolina, number 79.
This is the game the Niners wanted. They've got it as we listen to the introduction to the home crowd here at Candlestick Park. And as we get set for our final thoughts, let's start first with the coach, Jimmy Johnson.
Maybe because of the footing, look for problems in the kicking game. I look for some long kickoff returns. I look for some missed kicks and possibly some block kicks in this game.
A big problem for the Cowboys last game was the red zone. Troy Aikman threw 2 interceptions. The big reason they say for that is Merton Hanks was left available to float in the secondary because Dallas kept their running backs in. Today they will release their running back, 5-man pattern. Merton Hanks will have to account for Emmitt Smith. That will open up Troy Aikman.
Yeah, you look for the 49ers to feature not Ricky Waters because the field being sloppy and slow will neutralize his cutting a bit. He looked for Floyd, the fullback, to carry the load running the game between the tackles.
All right, Dallas and San Francisco, number 3. Folks, we hope you've enjoyed this first season of Fox NFL Sunday almost as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll be joining you throughout the day, but right now, the game is Pat and John and Matt Milne bring you the action. Folks, we'll see you back. Gentlemen.
To the point where you just say, shut up and deal. And I think we're at that point where you just shut up and deal. Fasano telling the Dallas Cowboys what kickoff return they're going to run.
They have won the toss, so they'll have the ball first in the hands of Troy Aikman. And they'll have what is the best end of the field. The field is soft. But today it's 65 degrees, showers possible, but right now it doesn't look like it. It's rained every day in 1995 in the Bay Area. Not today.
And a big part of that everyday rain was sitting right here at Candlestick. Yeah. But, you know, you get to a point like now, all that talk is over. I mean, the rain and what this guy said and what that guy said and who owns and the new coach and what, you know, happened last year, that's all over. Now it's right now and what you do on this field from this point on.
The winner of this game goes to the Super Bowl to take on the San Diego Chargers, who upset Pittsburgh today 17-13. Kevin Williams and Brock Marion back deep for Dallas, and Doug Bryan, the rookie, to kick off for San Francisco. The receivers are at the 10. Low kick. He didn't get it. Bounces to Kevin Williams. Williams gets it out to about the 34. And let's look at the Cowboy offense. Troy Aikman at the helm. 7-0 in preseason. Never lost. Hot last week. This is the offensive line. They're beat up considerably. Tournay, Newton, Stepnoski, Kennard, and Allen. Allen, the big question mark. Emmitt Smith, Darrell Johnston, Irvin Harper, and Novacek. And as John Madden said, Alvin Harper will be shadowed by number 21, Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders just went up and touched Alvin Harper on his shoulder. Said, I got you.
He'll know it. And Aikman back to throw. Protection good. Irvin short. Incomplete. And let's look at a revamped and much better San Francisco defense. Jackson, Stubblefield, Bryant Young, the rookie, and Dennis Brown in front of Ken Norton, Gary Plummer, and Lee Woodall. A strong secondary. Sanders, Hanks, McDonald, and Eric Davis, the other corner. Sanders again comes with Harper. 2nd and 10. Irvin in motion. He slipped on his first cut earlier. Outside to Jay Novacek, who fell down. We're going to see a lot of that before the day's over.
And the other thing, I think it's going to take a while for the Cowboys to adjust to the fact that Deion Sanders is on Alvin Harper. Because if they're going to stay away from Deion, then that means that they're going to have to go to Michael Irvin with some kind of double coverage, or to Johnston and Novacek.
Harper goes left. This time Sanders goes with him. 3 wide receivers. Kevin Williams in the slot. That's to the right. Aikman back to throw it. Intercepted by Eric Davis. And Davis will score for the 49ers. Intended for Kevin Williams. 44-yard touchdown run by Eric Davis. They thought he might be the weak link.
That's the place they wanted to work on. And again, I think Deion Sanders on Harper has thrown him for a loop. They didn't expect that. They're going to throw away from Deion, and they looked and they threw that one right to Eric Davis. Eric Davis is a guy who gets worked on a lot. You see him, he's just playing zone because they're doubling away. They're zoning away from where Deion Sanders lines up. Eric Davis was in his zone. Troy Aikman didn't read it and threw it right to him.
Wilmsmeyer is the holder. Bryan the kicker. And it's 7-0 San Francisco. Touchdown Eric Davis on a 44-yard touchdown. Handled the ball. Waters is split out this time. Floyd. Outside to Rice. Rice taken down just shy of a first down. The clock's still running. That's the signal on the sideline. He's inbounds, so keep the clock running.
What a start for the 49ers, huh? I mean, that first one, that interception is owned by Eric Davis, and then he comes back and makes the second play. He was the guy that stripped the ball from Michael Irvin.
Right.
You know, in these big games, you never know who the heroes are going to be. Sometimes they're the big players you expect, and sometimes there's a guy like an Eric Davis.
Who'll step up, and you expect it, as you say, from the big players, the name players. Here's Young, chased by Haley, gets away from Haley. Chased again, wings it upfield and out of bounds, incomplete. John Taylor, the intended target. Larry Brown, the coverage.
See, Haley's in a two-point stance today. He said he's going to do some of that. Instead of putting that hand down, stand up so he can see this type of thing better. Haley misses here, but watch Robert Jones come in there and make the hit. That's what they're going to do. They're going to let Haley come down in and then try and get a linebacker outside of him for the bootlegs and stuff.
4th and 2, and the 49ers are going for it.
They're letting it all hang out. They've had the frustration of losing 2 of these championship games.
Waters was the lone setback. Now it's only Young. They get it outside to Ted Hobson, and he maybe or maybe not have gotten that first down. I'm sure they'll have to measure this.
Yeah, that's confidence in a Steve Young, though, to not only go for it on 4th down, but then have a pass, and then have that pass to your backup tight end, Ted Popson.
Bring him out. Bring out the chains. This would be a psychological lift for either team.
Well, that's Ted Popson's job. I mean, he knows that it's 4th down. He has to run the pattern to get the first down.
Well, he did
by a half a football.
Well, let's look at the Dallas defense. The 4 in front are Haley, Lett, Maryland, and Tolbert. The 3 linebackers, Smith, Jones in the middle, and Dixon Edwards. And their secondary, Brown and Kevin Smith, the cornerbacks, Washington and Woodson, the 2 safeties. 1st and 10, San Francisco at the Dallas 30. Here's Young, pump fake. Outside the Waters, Waters inside the 10. Knocked out of bounds at about the 1. Now they say touchdown, he was in. Ricky Waters from 29 yards out on a pass from Steve Young, and the 49ers are hot.
Man, did he have time? I think Ricky Waters was about Steve Young's 3rd wide receiver, because watch his pass protection. Last game they didn't have it. Starts out with a play pass. He looks to the left. He pumps. He looks down the middle. He pumps. He looks out here to the right. His 3rd receiver, Ricky Waters, all the way out here on the right side. Now he does that high step, stays in bounds, and gets a touchdown. Although I'm not sure that he did stay in bounds. I'm not sure that the ball was in bounds.
They're kicking the extra point. And it's 14-0 San Francisco with 10:41 left in the 1st.
William Floyd, he thought he was going to get a break. He can't even take his shoulder pads off for a second. And the 49er offense is back in there again. It's Kevin Williams. He's going into a crowd. There comes the strip right there. The ball is knocked out right there.
Adam Walker.
And it's on the ground. And as you said, Doug Bryant, number 4, the kicker, is going to be the guy that ends up with it. Touch a ball on the ground, goes out of bounds, and there comes the kicker sliding in feet first.
10:29 left in the 1st. Mark Logan comes into the game for the 49ers. You saw William Floyd a minute ago with his shoulder pads off. He started out just a moment ago onto the field and came back. So Logan's in the game. There's the Dallas 35, and Young gives to Waters, and Waters is down inside the 30. Dixon Edwards made the stop.
Remember the last game, the 49ers had success running the ball with a quarterback with Steve Young on those bootlegs. So what he thinks was going to happen is that those ends are going to stay outside for the bootlegs, and there's going to be some running to the running backs inside, and that's exactly what they did there.
Ricky Waters got 6 yards, so it's 2nd and 4.
Boy, there's even mud and stuff on these uniforms. You can't beat this.
Floyd is back in place of Logan. Waters moves in motion. Floyd gets the carry and gets close to first down yardage. Not quite. Right now for McDonald's game break, let's send you to James Brown.
Third quarter action, play action by Stan Humphries. He finds a wide open Alfred Papunu. He takes it 43 yards to pay dirt. They trailed by 3 at that point, went on to win it. Right now, we take you back upstairs to Pat Summerall.
So the winner of this game will play. I'm not sure who the injured Cowboy is. Dixon Edwards, I believe. 14-0 49ers. There's Dixon Edwards going off. Our information is a dislocated shoulder. There's probably where it happened.
Yeah, right there you see he landed right on his right elbow.
Godfrey Miles in his place. Young sneaking for the first down. And got close.
Yeah, there's a guy who is totally changed, hasn't he, as
really?
Steve Young. I mean, you look at him, and he used to be so tense and so intense. And even in the beginning of this season, he was tense and intense. And then about the middle of the season, and maybe it was that Philadelphia game when George Seifert took him out, and they got in that big shouting match, or whatever it was, he found out that sometime, you know, that he could say what was on his mind. Here's where it started. Remember, they played the Eagles, they take him out, and he comes out, and he stayed mad for about 15 minutes.
Now, that's Gary Kubiak he's talking to right there, who is the quarterback coach, Steve Young's coach. They'll measure for that first down to see if he got it.
Even George Seifert says, you know, he said maybe he just became one of the guys that, you know, when you yell at the coach, then all the guys like you, all the other guys like you, become one of the guys. Maybe that was the point, that Steve Young became one of the guys. But whatever it is, he's a totally different guy now.
Yeah, you can just tell his demeanor, the way he carries himself, the way he talks. 1st and 10 49ers at the Dallas 25. San Francisco leading 14-0.
We were talking last night to James Washington. He said that Steve Young has a monkey on his back, and he said that monkey's number 16, Joe Montana, and he said, I'm going to remind it of it the whole game. I don't think he needs reminded about that.
No. Young back to throw. The blitz is coming. They don't get him. Incomplete. Wide open was John Taylor. He was there. There was nobody close. Young was a little bit high, but that ball could have been caught.
I know it. Every quarterback does that, too. You notice the time when they have something and it doesn't work, and they always go to their head. Watch John Taylor. That's a drop coverage. I mean, there's no one there. As you say, he's wide open. Steve Young throws the ball, and it just goes right between his hands. I mean, John Taylor is a tough guy. I mean, It's not a type of thing where he's hearing footsteps in there or anything. Steve Young saw it, put it up there. John Taylor has to catch that.
That was another 6. To Taylor, right back. James Washington wraps him up. But a first down at the 10.
James Washington better not mess with John Taylor.
No.
Because you talk about, you know, tough wide receivers. There's not a lot of tough wide receivers in the world, but John Taylor is one of them. Like James Washington says, you know, that John Taylor will hit you as hard on a crackback as you hit him when he comes in a slant. So that's what they're trying to do. Watch Washington here. He tries to get John Taylor here and really put a hit on him and then hold on and mess with him and all that stuff. But messing with John Taylor, it doesn't work anyway.
1st and goal at the 10. Young will throw it. Quarterback draw. Young to the 1.
That's the play they were practicing at Stanford University the other day on Friday. We're watching them, and what they think is going to happen is they're going to get pass rush here and here, and if Steve Young could come up here, let these guys really drop and read their patterns, and then just boom it up the middle. Now watch that. He wants those linebackers with the motion and stuff to run out. You see everyone run out? And look, when those linebackers run out and the pass rushers start up the field, you can drive a truck through that deal.
Second and goal at the 1. Floyd. Touchdown San Francisco, and the 49ers lead it 20-0. Impressive.
The 49ers wanted the crowd to get in this game, and the 49ers have given the crowd reason to be in this game. But, you know, it all started with turnovers.
Yep.
2 that Eric Davis got for him. The third one was Adam Walker on a special teams play. 3 Dallas Cowboy turnovers, 3 49er touchdowns.
Brian will try his third. Well, look at this. First time in NFC Championship history that a team has scored 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. In history.
It may be the first time in history that a team has had 3 turnovers that quickly.
It is 21-0 San Francisco with 7 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter.
And welcome back to Candlestick Park here in San Francisco, California for the Dockers halftime of this NFC Championship game. A first half that saw San Francisco capitalize on 3 Dallas turnovers to go ahead and lead it at the half 31-14. And Terry, it started on the opening drive by Dallas.
Eric Davis, this is his 2nd interception in 2 weeks. Right off the bat, Troy Aikman couldn't drive with his right leg. Foot gave away. Nothing on the ball. Interception right off the bat. 49ers up by 7. Back comes Young, pumping left, looking for Taylor, looking for Rice, looking for Jones, finding Waters down the right sideline. Great effort by Waters, 29 yards. 14-0 now. 49ers. William Floyd off right tackle. 21-0. All 3 touchdowns coming off of 3 turnovers by the Cowboys. But then comes back Aikman. Good footing punt. Down the left side, we said you cannot cover him man for man. Put 2 people on him, he'll go in and out on him. Touchdown pass. This closes the gap down to 21-7. Emmitt Smith, if he's got a full hamstring, he wins the early Oscars, and I got a head full of hair.
Early Oscars.
Early Oscars, 21-14.
What a way to close out the first half by Steve Young.
Steve Young, this is one of the greatest passes I've ever seen. Perfect time in Jerry Rice back corner. Should have been pass interference. 31-14. Chris Bono had missed a field goal that would have made this game a closer game than it was. But so far, you take the first 8 minutes of the game, set them aside, and what you pretty much have is a 14-7 Cowboy lead. 3 turnovers in championship games you cannot have if you expect to win.
And what you find out is an opportunistic San Francisco team in that first half capitalizing and leading at 31-14 at the half here in San Francisco. Well, the right for the visit to the Super Bowl was also battled for in Pittsburgh today. San Diego came from behind, but Pittsburgh looked good early.
Neil O'Donnell coming out. Dennis Gibson trying to cover the back. John L. Williams, 20. That's a 16-yard touchdown. Opening drive covered 13 plays and 57 yards. But back comes Humphries. He finds a wide open Afre Pupunu for 43 yards to tight end. Wide open, 13-10. Steelers by 3. But now comes back Stan Humphries again out of Southwood High School in the great city of Shreveport. Tony Martin, 43-yard touchdown. This makes San Diego a 17-13 lead. Down go the Steelers, driving down the field in the closing minutes of the game, JB. Neil O'Donnell, 4th down, 1 yard to go, back foot, no good. Dennis Gibson, who had been beaten earlier, knocks the ball down. Pittsburgh upset by San Diego.
Hats off to that San Diego defense that did a nice job on Barry Foster, limiting him to 48 yards in the first half. Okay, our Eric Clemens caught up with Stan Humphries after the game and talked to Humphries about whether or not the Chargers have finally earned the respect that they think they deserve.
I hope they can give us some credit, but I doubt it. The AFC hasn't won a Super Bowl in so long, so, you know, we probably got no shot this way. We'll probably be 14, 15, 16 points underdog, but that don't matter. We're there. We've proved it to ourselves and to our fans, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, one thing I hope our players understand is that just remember this feeling, because it's worse than our last 2 years. I can't even imagine doing this again.
All right, well, hats off again to San Diego that will be making its first ever Super Bowl appearance. Back to this game, Jimmy. My goodness, it looked like Dallas had battled its way back into the picture. Questionable play calling by Dallas down the stretch.
Well, JB, you know, the touchdown at the end is large. I mean, Dallas was right back in the ball game. They get the football with only about 40 seconds left in the game, deep in their territory. You know, Coach
coaches in this league, they're going to run out the clock. They did not have a single running play to put some time off the clock. 3 incomplete passes, a bad kick with bad footing like we talked about before the game started. And it ends up San Francisco gets a touchdown that puts them up. It's humongous for the momentum and for the psychological feeling of these teams.
And again, Howard, we talked at the top of the show about Dion singling up on Harper, just as you call it, and Aikman throws away, and those are the mistakes.
Yeah, early on through to Michael Irvin into the double coverage with Eric Davis. But, you know, the big thing to me is, as Jimmy mentioned, 3rd and 10 down on the goal line. A difference in philosophy of coaching. Steve Young goes to what got him there. Jerry Rice in the end zone. They run a draw on 3rd and 10, the Cowboys in the red zone. A catastrophically bad call.
Terry, was that the knockout blow by San Francisco?
Well, the Cowboys never have been known to be great clock managers this year. And then once again, that to me was some stupid play calling.
All right, Cowboys pay the price, trailing 31-14. When we come back, we'll be talking with Doug Williams, Super Bowl MVP from Super Bowl 22.
If you think these guys are rough, wait till you see the action.
For this NFC Championship game, just a few moments away, but it gives me a lot of pleasure as we welcome you back here to welcome Doug Williams, MVP from Super Bowl 22 with the Washington Redskins. Gosh, Dallas trailing big. You've been in that situation before in Super Bowl 22. What's important for Dallas to come back?
I think it's going to be awfully hard for Dallas to come back. I think the last TD to Rice was kind of like a knockout punch. I think if they'd held them to a field goal, there's a possibility they could have come back. And I'm not counting them out, but I think what has happened now, the San Francisco 49ers got a hold on it coming back the second half. See, we took the lead in the second half. We went in with it, and that's what San Francisco has right now.
There are some who may say, wow, Doug's got Dallas Cowboy colors on that hat there. What is that?
Nah, that's the World League over in Scotland. Scotland Claymore, and I'm going to be coaching over there. And that's one reason why I'm going. Give me an opportunity, but also give a lot of young guys who can play in the league but really haven't been seen, and that's what the league is going to do for a lot of people.
You won't be the receivers coach. Real quickly, Steve McNair, first-round draft choice. Can he do it?
Without a doubt. I think he's a franchise player. If you want a franchise quarterback, Steve McNair is one of them.
All right, we're looking at a franchise quarterback, Steve Young, and the 49ers, and we'll be taking you back to the second half of this NFC Championship game right after this.
You're watching a Fox NFL special, the NFC Championship game.
The NFL on Fox is brought to you by Roger.
Positive.
Yeah, and it starts off with a defensive highlight. The highlighted guy there is Eric Davis, and he's really the guy who got the 49ers started. He's on Michael Irvin. Here he looks like he's playing man-to-man, comes off on a zone, sees that out coming towards him, jumps that ball, and gets the first big play and touchdown for the 49ers.
And that one really got the 49ers off running.
Yeah, and then he got another turnover on a strip to Michael Irvin, and then the 49ers got a third turnover, and that became 21 points quickly.
And then he got an interception just before the end of the half. To compare Aikman and Young, Troy 11 out of 21, Steve 9 out of 20. 2 touchdowns for Steve Young. That last one to Jerry Rice. Aikman hit Irvin for one of the Dallas touchdowns.
Hurry up, Sports Center's on. Come on, get happy. With the drive for 5, take the Steelers to the brink and take the Niners to the top. With the Chargers, find there really is a first for everything. With the Cowboys, find there's an 8th time for them. The Niners finally come home, but with the field be an advantage. And how terrible were the towels in Pittsburgh? Depends on who you ask. Dion, Troy, Dion. The Nuggets rocked the boat in a big way.
For all of you that thought we traded for Scottie Pippen, I apologize.
Well, another team without Scottie found their visit to Boston a bit painful. The Rams' move is on Georgia's mind. When will they meet in St. Louis? Louis? So no matter how you look or even where you look, you're going to find Sports Center next.
Hello and welcome to the big show alongside my tag team colleague Carl Ravitch. I'm Keith Olbermann.
Ahead on Sports Center, a buzzer beater with Boston Garden. From Hawaii comes Morse code, but first the football
where one Cowboy cries and another retires.
And this just in, the Niners have already scored the first points of Super Bowl 29. One of the big questions going into the NFC Championship game was the condition of the Candlestick Park playing field. Well, any remaining uncertainties about the turf may be directed to Mr. Troy Aikman, who on Sunday would get to inspect more of it than any groundskeeper ever has, up to and including George Toma. To the stick, Leslie Visser did not wear a hat, and the repercussions were about what you would expect before the game. Just a little tearing up of the turf. First quarter, third play of the game, Eric Davis, who really was the MVP, steps in front of Aikman's pass, stepped off his man, took a big gamble, 44-yard touchdown, 7-0 Niners. The next Cowboy possession, this time Aikman gets the ball past Eric Davis and company, but then Davis strips Irvin, and it's 49er ball again. 7-0. We're just past the opening whistle. Sets up George Seifert, sets up Steve Young. He has plenty of time. Pumps once, goes right. Nice little drop pass to Ricky Waters, who high steps it in. And yeah, he made it 14-0 San Francisco. Could it get worse for Dallas? You bet. Kevin Williams fumbles the ensuing kickoff. It gets knocked away from him. It's Niner ball again. Things moving so fast, William Floyd wasn't even dressed to come back in. Niners at the 1. Touchdown. 21-0 San Francisco. Emmett said it was like spotting Carl Lewis 20 yards in a 100-yard dash. The Cowboys, however, made up a little of the distance. Aikman deep up top for Irvin. Touchdown Cowboys. But it's still 21-7. Now 24-7 Niners in the second. Emmett, who was healthy more or less, stumbles in from 4 out. It's 24-14. Niners, though, looking to put them away inside the 30-second mark to Rice with a 28-yard touchdown just before the half. It was 31-14. Second half, Emmett scores. It's 31-21. And then Steve Young stumbling and flopping in. Beautifully done. He's a rough guy. 38-21 San Francisco. Niners rolling. Steve Young gives today's great Gazoo helmet to Steve Wallace. Early in the fourth, Emmett, that's it, pulled the hammy again. He's out of the game. But the Cowboys, despite Emmett's condition, are not out. Aikman, during one of his brief periods of standing upness, to Irvin for another touchdown. 38-28. Then late in the fourth, the controversy. Is Deion guilty of pass interference on Michael Irvin? Either that or he's just checking Michael's heartbeat. No call, but then Barry Switzer runs into an official, and they wind up penalizing the Cowboys 15 yards. Aikman took a beating all time, sacked by Rhett Hall, and the Niners win it 38-28, and afterwards Young, usually a placid enough fellow, crazy goes nuts. One video cameraman is down, and then a still photographer is down, and he's going to get yet a third one. 3 tackles for Steve. Right there, he's down. It's all over. They sacked Aikman 4 times, and Young by himself sacked 3 cameramen. Aikman dropped another 20 times. Why did that happen? More on that in our breakdown segment later. Key losing stat, perhaps. Alvin Harper, 1 reception, 14 yards. They stuck Deion on him. Anyway, Steve Young is headed for his first Super Bowl as a starter. He says Aikman told him on the field afterwards, this is your year, it's your turn. Whose turn was it when they didn't throw that flag on Deion? Barry Switzer spoke about the controversy with our Chris Mortensen.
What they call that, Barry?
What do you mean what they call?
Did they call bumping the official?
Well, I just showed them what Deion does to Michael. They won't call it. 35-38 to make the call.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. But they won't.
It's a tough penalty to take at that point.
They look at him a little bit different. Larry Brown gets a little this, and they call on him.
If he saw fit to do what he did, then I'm behind him, you know. But all penalties hurt. Just like if I would have did it, all penalties hurt, you know. But if he saw fit to do it, that's his, you know, that's his prerogative. The weight of the world finally got the Cowboys.
Eric set the tone of the game today. He set the tone. I mean, having a big play, I was bumping and running on the other side, and I looked over like, damn, what's going on? I'm just mad because he didn't high step and dance a little bit. We got to talk about this, too.
You kind of feel the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat on both sides. You understand that how bad they're feeling, and they were true champions. But everybody knows it's time for some champions to bow out and let someone step in.
I'm not in any way disheartened. I'm disappointed, but not disheartened. I don't have the gall really to be disheartened. I certainly think it's an overreach to make this game a responsibility of Barry. If you're going to do criticism, I think what we're really referring to is would Jimmy have done a better job coaching than Barry? And if anybody's going to get criticized for that, I think that'll be me.
Meanwhile, Deion also called Eric Davis my partner in prime. It's all over for the Cowboys, one in particular. That story later. The first quarter in this game told the story, and turnovers told the first quarter's story. The Niners, who had turned it over 5 times in 92 and 93, while the Pokes didn't turn it over once, suddenly gave themselves a +4 on takeaway giveaway chart. 3 of the Dallas turnovers led to 21 of the San Francisco points. Carl?
With Carmen Policy getting all the attention for buying and building a program in San Francisco, Bobby Beathard has been overlooked in San Diego, which is just the way he wants it. He owns 5 Super Bowl rings and never wears any of them. He's built the team mostly through the draft, a team like its GM, which this entire season has never been given much attention, and Sunday was never given much a chance. Wet, wild, you need the towel. 62 degrees in Pittsburgh. Neil O'Donnell facing the league's top rushing D, led by Junior Seau. O'Donnell, favorite target this season, John L. Williams. 16 yards later, he's in at 7-0, a 7.5-minute drive. The vaunted Steeler D gave up only 46 yards in the first half. First and goal on the 3, Natron Means nowhere to go. He had 69 yards on 20 carries. Means again, second and goal, stopped by Levon Kirkland. He led the Steelers with 10 tackles. Third and goal, Means into his own lineman, Joe Kokozo, who got stood up by Leon Searcy. Chargers settle for a field goal, 10-3 Steelers at the half. Bobby Ross's team had the ball for less than 8 of the 30 minutes in the first half. Humphreys 1 of 5 in the first half, third quarter, not good. Picked off by Rod Woodson. It would lead to a field goal, 13-3 Steelers. 61,000 plus thinking about ring number 5. 8:03 left in the third, 13-3, the blitz. How do you forget about Al Papuno? His longest play from scrimmage had been 25 yards. That TD, good for 43. The play fake, the blitz, it caused everybody to end up in pursuit, and they couldn't catch Papuno. Chargers GM, Bobby Beathard, been to the Super Bowl with the Skins and Fins. Big game for Seau. Watch him pursue Foster, makes the tackle. He had 16. Here at his shoulder again, didn't miss a play. Humphreys, Tony Martin covered by two-time Super Bowl winner Tim McKyer, 43-yard touchdown, 17-13. Chargers are in front. The Steelers get the ball back with just over 3 to go. First play of the drive, O'Donnell. Eric Green caught 4 passes for 80 yards. Third down now. O'Donnell gets protection. Green gets open again. First down. Bill Arnsparger's D is bending big time. Next play, O'Donnell. Green to the 9. O'Donnell had thrown for over 200 yards 3 times this season, well into the 3s now. From first and goal to fourth and goal. From the 2, the Steelers need a touchdown. O'Donnell looking over the middle. Foster's open, no! Knocked down by Dennis Gibson, who made 2 key plays in the final series, and the Chargers hang on and win it. O'Donnell, a record-setting, heartbreaking loss. Chris Mims take this towel, and Tim McKyer, the man beaten on the final TD, had to be taken off by the paramedics. O'Donnell's passing attempts and TDs, well, it breaks the number set by Joe Namath in 68. His 32 completions breaks the one set by Bernie Kosar in 87. Chargers stifled the Blitzburg D, allowing only 1 sack. Following the game, obscenities ringing through the Steelers locker room. Kevin Green swore at a TV crew, and then Neil O'Donnell, well, he swears he made the right decision on the final play.
It came down to that last final play, and you know, I think the guy 57 made a pretty good play. You know, getting his finger in there, Barry told me it was about an inch. You know, and he said 1 more inch and we would have had it.
They had 2 big plays that accounted for 14 of their points. And they made the plays when they had to and we didn't. And so you take their hat off to their offense and you go back to the drawing board next year.
The touchdown to Al Papuno, I think that play got us back in there 13-10, got us into a situation to where got our sidelines back into it, got us to believe in that, hey, we've come back from before. This is just another time, and that touchdown, I think, got everything back going for us.
All week long, you know, we got disrespected. You know, they were planning Super Bowl videos, Super Bowl parties. You know, we got disrespected from San Diego to Pittsburgh, you know. But, you know, we stuck with it. We believed in ourselves. We knew what we can do. You know, we got one obstacle left. It's going to be a big one, but we're going to stick together, you know, because you got to believe.
All right, O'Donnell's records were for passing attempts, not touchdowns. Now check out the #1 rushing D against the Dolphins and Steelers, shutting the door in half 2 in both games, allowing only 3 points, allowing 18 yards on the ground. And the bottom line, the time of possession, more of a credit to the Chargers offense as they keep the ball away from the opponent. Steve?
And we will break down both games and hear again from both locker rooms later on in the Big Show. Elsewhere, also NFL, the 1926 Los Angeles Wildcats of the American Football League, the 1926 Los Angeles Buccaneers of the National Football League, the 1937 Los Angeles Bulldogs of the Second American Football League, the 1949 Los Angeles Dons of the All-American Football Conference, the 1960 Los Angeles Chargers of the Fourth American Football League, the 1975 Southern California Sun of the World Football League, the 1985 Los Angeles Express of the United States Football League, And now the 1994-95 Los Angeles Rams, the 7th pro football team to fold up in or move out of the City of the Angels. The team has finally confirmed that it is on the verge of finalizing its move to St. Louis. President John Shaw and owner George Franieri en route for a probable Tuesday news conference. The Los Angeles Times quotes Franieri as saying, "I'm on my way. I have to give my approval. I have no other choice. I feel a little numb." Carl?
Well, the state of Colorado has been shocked once with a coaching resignation, but if you thought Bill McCartney stepped on, season high, career high, 25. Closing moments of the game. The Celtics are down 1. Wesley at the line trying to tie it. He misses the free throw, but the Kings knock the ball out of bounds. Chris Ford says we got to get it to D.
So the inbound goes to D. D hugs the ball. D puts it to the floor. D backs it off. D starts his drive. D into the plate. Loops it up. Got it. That's a buzzer. They win it. The Celts win it.
No longer D Brown, just D. Celts score the final 8 points of the game. Neek had 22. Celts dig in on D2. Season high 14 blocks. Dino had 6 of those to go with 18 points. The Blazers and Sonics in Seattle, where the Sonics have a 14-game home winning streak. Strickland loses it. Clyde Drexler trade me. No, let me score 30 first. Seattle playing some D. Sarunas Marciulionis the steal. Gary Payton 9 assists to Detlef Schrempf in the easy 2. He had 21. Then it's Vincent Askew for 1, 2, 3. He had 9. Seattle still running and running very well. Askew. Nate McMillan open on the right wing. Sam Perkins open ahead of everybody else. And George Karl eyes the victory. 131-124 the final score in this one. Payton 29, Kemp 24, Schrempf, as I said, 21. Three, count 'em, Blazers had more than 30 points, including Strickland's career high 32.
Coming up in 1989, rookie Troy Aikman was sacked 19 times in 8 games. Oh, not to be young again. How Aikman's protection died along with the Cowboys' chances. We'll break that down, along with a tale of 2 rallies and 2 quarterbacks in Pittsburgh later on in the big show. Also still ahead of us from the games, a surprise from the Dallas locker room from Charles Haley. We'll hear Haley's comment and other shooting stars. Also coming up, the Sunday conversation. Soon he'll be playing hockey. Now Brett Hull's just talking about it.
I don't think that this is going to affect the way anybody's going to play hockey, because not only are they playing for their own pride, they're playing for 19 or 20 other guys.
King Kong was a big ape. How about the one hanging on to Steve Young's back? As Leslie Visser reports, Sunday, Steve stepped forward and said, enough with all this monkey business.
It will be considered a defining moment in the history of the 49ers. Players took pay cuts, management took chances, and finally Steve Young beat the Dallas Cowboys for the NFC title.
Seems like we've had our shots before and didn't get it done. And we made a pact with all of us and the whole team that if we got here, that we'd make sure it got done. And it was just a great feeling to finally beat them.
Considering it a personal breakthrough, Young wanted to share the moment with the fans. His teammates especially understood the significance of the victory.
Especially for Steve, you know, he's done everything but take this team to the Super Bowl, and now he's done that. I think he kind of felt like that was the final hurdle, and he was very emotional. He could barely even talk.
The Big D turned out to be not Dallas, but the 49er defense, where names like Deion Sanders and Gary Plummer and Ken Norton came to the 49ers for just this day, and even they were thrilled for Young.
He's been taking so many shots. He's probably the best player out there. And for him to finally get his due, after so much that he's done, you kind of feel for him. Now he can take a sigh of relief and live in peace, like Chris Berman said.
He's the guy that has replaced Joe Montana in the hearts of a lot of Bay Area fans today.
2 former New Orleans Saints, Toy Cook and Ricky Jackson, had never advanced this far. Jackson had more than 800,000 reasons to be happy, the bonus he'll receive for advancing to the Super Bowl.
Now to come here and get a chance to go to Super Bowl, I mean, a lot of guys don't know what they've been missing. I'm one of them guys.
I wanted to be so part of this so much that I did take that pay cut and.
But it paid off.
But that's right. No, I just feel like, hey, a Super Bowl win is worth more than the actual dollars.
In the end, Steve Young has 2 trophies as league MVP, but now he has a chance to lead his team to the hardware he wants most, a Super Bowl ring. In San Francisco, I'm Leslie Visser.
Yes, and only then will he truly live in peace. Young has put up mind-numbing numbers over the last 13 games, hitting on 70% of his passes, accounting for 35 touchdowns. Consider the fact that there were 11 teams in the league that didn't score 35 TDs this entire season.
As we break down this game, did the Cowboys season really end the day number 79? Eric Williams racked up his knee in a car accident. Certainly looked that way at times during the NFC's first ever underwater championship game. Williams went down, and Sunday, Troy Aikman knew how he felt. With remaining offensive linemen Larry Allen and Nate Newton hobbling around, it was now Troy going down hard, and going down again and again. We'll start with the Larry Allen story, wearing number 73 and getting beat early and often. Ricky Jackson on the left side busts past him. Although there was an $800,000 bonus involved in it for Ricky. Here it is again. One of these players knows it's time to start, and the other one doesn't seem to. Hello. Even when it appeared Aikman had time. Check the clock in the lower left corner. Jackson still gets in to tip the ball. Less than 3 seconds off the jump, almost leading to a Niner interception. The ball is dropped by Toy Cook. The constant pressure led to more attention on Aikman and more trouble for Aikman. Second half, key third down. Emmitt Smith receives, but is stopped far short of the first down. Although Jackson would be called for roughing the passer. Another look. Jackson will actually tip Aikman's helmet while going for the ball. There it is, Troy. Hello. The penalty gave a first down and led to a touchdown. On the next Dallas drive, Aikman deals with the pressure. He gets nailed by Troy Wilson and completes an 18-yarder to Kevin Williams. And then how did he do this? He's about to be sacked, bad footing, legs buckling, still hits Michael Irvin. Under the pressure of 3 different Niners, and Irvin somehow turns it into 20 yards. The next play, the pocket holds, and this time Aikman does it. Perhaps the wear and tear wore him down. Interception, Deion Sanders. In the fourth, Cowboys still with a chance, 6.5 to go, down by 10. Jackson has beaten Allen and beats up Aikman once again. Almost another intercept. The same drive, the Niner aggressiveness turned into overzealousness. This kept the drive alive because, of course, it was a late hit. 4 plays later, 4th and 10. This time it's Harris on the left side, beating Allen, sacking Aikman. On the day, Troy knocked down 20 times, sacked 4 times, and got 1 messy pair of pants. In a pattern that was a theme for both games, the quarterback with the better interior numbers on Sunday loses. These are the seasonal ones here. For the day, Steve Young, 13 of 28, 155 yards, 2 touches. Aikman, 30 of 53, 380 yards, 2 touches, 3 interceptions. Pressure the passer, take away one of his primary targets, and he will lose.
Emmitt Smith compared falling behind 21-0 like spotting Carl Lewis 20 yards on a 100-yard dash. Well, imagine trying to catch Carl Lewis with a pulled left hamstring. Imagine trying to catch him with a pulled left and right hamstring. As Emmitt walked off the field, he had both. Here's Chris Mortensen.
The big issue for the Cowboys all week was Emmitt Smith's hamstring. 4 minutes, 19 seconds into the game, it didn't matter. An interception, 2 fumbles, a missed field goal, and the Cowboys were down 21-0.
The big shift was when we missed the short field goal, and then they come back and score the touchdown with 8 seconds left. You know, if we get that 3 points and they don't score, that's a big turnaround. And we're coming in at halftime with a realistic shot of making a run at them. But that just really was too much to overcome.
We spotted them too much, too early, you know, too soon, and it went, you know, time ran out on us.
While Dallas star receiver Michael Irvin had a record-setting day, the usual 49er nemesis, Alvin Harper, was shut down by Deion Sanders. Or was he?
They didn't give me a chance to go against Deion. They didn't call the number for me. They didn't call my play. They didn't even allow me to try to make a play on him.
But the most critical mistake by a coach was by Barry Switzer with 6 minutes left in the game, bumping an official, protesting a non-call downfield, and all but killing a go-for-broke drive.
Well, I just showed them what Deion does to Michael. They won't call it. It's 35 to 38 to make the call.
I'm not going to lie to you. It hurt the football team. You know, do we win the game if that doesn't happen? Yes. No. I'm kidding. Probably not.
Not every Cowboy left the locker room in such good spirits. Charles Haley had a surprise announcement.
I'm finished with football. So it's over with me. So no need to ask me questions about what could have, should have, anything, because football is no longer in my system anymore.
Cowboys owner Jerry Jones told us that he wants to sit down with Haley before he starts to put this team back together again. From Candlestick Park, Chris Mortensen, ESPN.
Mort, thanks. Coming up, the other title game. When your miracle final drive produces not triumph, but tears. What the Steelers did wrong, what the Chargers did right in the gloaming at Pittsburgh, when the big show continues.
Stop doing those crazy diets.
It's a brand name, not an adjective. Last week was Stan Humphrey's chance to move up into the Joe Montana Jr., John Elway II class of comebacks, and he took it. This week was Neil O'Donnell's chance, but as Mark Malone reports from Three Rivers, same premise, different conclusion.
A 21-yard completion from Neil O'Donnell to Eric Green put the Steelers at the 9 with 2 minutes to play. Electing to go with a soft zone, the San Diego defense had allowed Pittsburgh to go 74 yards in just 7 plays. Ironically, it was that same zone defense that ultimately sealed the victory.
We mixed a little man, but most of it was zone, and you know, we just tried to put him in situations where we could make the play, and you know, we made some, and there were some we didn't make, and as I told him earlier a while ago, I said, I guess I could say we didn't want him to score too early, but you know, that's not accurate. We just didn't want him to score.
Pittsburgh managed to get down to the San Diego 3-yard line with a third down completion to John L. Williams. With the outcome of the game hanging in the balance, San Diego defensive coordinator Arnsparger didn't blink and called for a 2-deep zone on 4th and goal at the 3.
Neil O'Donnell on a 4th down play to save the season to throw. Fires down! It was laid down at the goal line by San Diego!
The final play, 2 deep, zone under?
It was zone, yes, and it's something that you know, we tried to mix all day, and we just hoped that we could make the play.
It's our picket fence defense, Mark. We play it every day. We work on it, and it's just one of those little things where we try to keep everybody inside that fence, and boy, we played it well today.
They flexed green wide, and then I opened up and looked at him, but he didn't run an inside route. And then when they checked the back through, I started to bite on that, and fortunately it was the right read.
Going down the last series, you know, I really felt that he was going to do a blitz or, you know, go man-to-man or do something to put some pressure on him. He didn't. He stayed with a cover 2, a simple cover 2. And it's something that they can read, but he stayed with it, and I got to respect that.
And you have to respect the way San Diego shut down the league's #1 rushing attack. Yet they were still able to win the AFC Championship game with their pass defense, which, by the way, ranked 22nd in the league this season. Reporting from Pittsburgh, I'm Mark Malone, ESPN.
Mark, thank you. The similarities, at least from a quarterbacking performance, between the January '83 playoff game matching the Steelers and Chargers with Sunday's game between the same two teams are eerie. 12 years ago, Bradshaw set passing records but loses the 10-point second-half lead and the game. Sunday, O'Donnell sets passing records and loses a 10-point second-half lead and the game. 11 completions, 22 attempts, 165 yards. 32 completions, 54 attempts, 349 yards. Actual stat lines from actual quarterbacks. But who actually won the game? A, Neil O'Donnell, or B, Stan Humphries? Was that O'Donnell throwing darts or Pittsburgh's favorite son, Dan Marino? In the first half, O'Donnell worked the short passing game to perfection, using Ernie Mills and Andre Hastings on safe, low-risk routes across the middle. His touchdown pass was a perfect example of this. He finds John L. Williams over the middle as a safety valve against the blitz.
So the best rushing team in the NFL uses the pass to drive 67 yards and 13 opening plays.
O'Donnell finished the first half with 29 attempts and 179 yards. Why was this necessary? The Steelers came in with the #1 rushing offense in the NFL, but it was ineffective early. Junior Seau and the AFC's #1 rushing D held Barry Foster to 33 yards and 11 carries in the first half, which included a rare Foster fumble. Meanwhile, O'Donnell's counterpart had a dreadful half. 1 completion, 5 attempts, and only 10 net yards. Humphries was continually getting smothered by the Steelers' D, yet the score was only 10-3. The second half was more of the same for O'Donnell. The man many believe could keep the Steelers out of the Super Bowl, set a pair of AFC Championship passing records, and nearly got them there instead. The man who is going to Joe Robbie Stadium, Stan Humphries. He must now be officially recognized as a big game, big play quarterback. Last week against the Dolphins, down 21-15 with under a minute to go, he finds Mark Say on an 8-yard score, capping a 10-play, 61-yard drive. And of course Sunday, down 10 in the third quarter.
Humphries wide open for Budo at the 20, to the 10, to the 5, and he's touchdown!
Humphries had again struck with a huge play, but they were still down 3.
Humphries goes long, has the man Martin, touchdown! Oh my!
Well, it's funny, you look ahead 2 weeks and you think, no way, but Stan Humphries has been counted out so many times before. His postseason of 92 compared to 94, his completion rate is way up, but more importantly, so are his touchdowns, and he's getting the protection.
Coming up, the Super Bowl, that is a brand name, and title game insights from Tom Jackson, Joe Theismann, Chris Berman, And after that, Carl and I will slog through rain and sleet and snow and fear of mascots to bring you the Postal Rate Increase edition of the Plays of the Week. I hope that wipes off.
Listen.